Sing me a song of a lass that is gone.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylee, and in this video we are continuing on the Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone chapter by chapter book review. Now, if this is your first time on the channel, thank you very much for watching. If you have not yet hit that subscribe button, please consider doing so. It really does help the channel grow. Now, I just want to give a warning though. When I talk about the chapters, the chapter is spoiled for you. I will be talking about everything that happens in that chapter. So if you have not read up to chapter 9, then avoid this video unless you want to know the spoilers like a lot of people. So if you are one of those people, welcome. Sit back. Let's talk about this amazing chapter. So if you are new here, I have not read anything past the chapter that I'm talking about, so it will not be spoiled if you're just going chapter by chapter. But this chapter, chapter 9, I think it has been the most pivotal information little grabs that we've had throughout so far. I am so excited by this chapter. It was chapter 9, Animal Nursery Tales, and it was predominantly told by Claire. I'm sure we've been given the biggest piece of information that is going to play out. This was my favorite chapter so far, I think. So this chapter takes place a full month after the previous chapter, and we find out that the house finally has a canvas roof, which is very exciting. It means that the house building is coming along very nicely, and it won't be too much longer until our favorite family have a home to live in. We also get a lot of house blessings in this chapter, and I do really appreciate that because it gives you more of an understanding of what was happening in that time and how important the home really is. I mean, it's the key element to survival really for this family. And it's like, they just keep getting them knocked down or burnt down. I have high hopes that this house is going to last a lifetime, because how much more can they really go through in regards to their houses and their homes? We do find out in this chapter that Mandy has a hot fire temper. I mean, we already knew that, but it really does come into play that her temper it's electric. I love the connection she is growing with Jamie, their little bond. It's just adorable to read. Every time I read little tidbits of it, I'm like, oh, that's so adorable. Their connection is going to be amazing as she grows up. And I just think he's going to be one of the only people that actually can control Mandy's temper. And I have this funny feeling that her temper might come into play with her extra powers that are going to come into play. I mean, I don't know about her powers. I do really believe she's going to be such a pivotal character, but I think her temper's going to get her into trouble. Just, I don't know. If we get to see Mandy at an older age later on, then her temper's definitely going to cause her some trouble. Of course, we then find out that Mandy wants to be read a story, and the very famous Dr. Seuss Green Eggs and Ham book comes into play. I love that they have brought books back from the future, especially for the kids. I mean, obviously trying to hide that from anyone really on the Ridge would be it would be so scary if you would put that in that situation. It's like, you can bring this book, but it must stay hidden because nobody can ever know. Just for that, you wouldn't want the drama to come with somebody finding a book from the future. But I just loved that it was Dr. Seuss Green Eggs and Ham. And then, of course, when Claire gets her gift from Brie and Roger, and it is the medical textbook, her excitement it proves how much of a loving woman she is and how much she does want to heal everybody. Of course, we already knew that, but just her excitement about getting the next edition of the medical textbooks, I just absolutely loved it. It was such a nice little thing. Then, of course, we have Jamie receiving the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This made me laugh on so many different occasions, and even when I finished reading the chapter and I was just thinking about little tidbits in it, I just thought that is absolute gold. And what an honor to have, we all know Lord of the Rings is very big, but to have it written into another book that's been, going for 30 years in a series, the honor of that is pretty cool. And I absolutely loved that the Lord of the Rings got in there, and it's just something that Jamie can experience for the first time. It's such an odd feeling knowing that I mean, we all know that these characters aren't real, but for the to know that there are people out there that will probably go out now and read the Lord of the Rings books, because Diana mentioned them in this book for Jamie to read, and have that similar connection of they might read it for the first time because it's like, you know, it was mentioned in this and it's important for Bree to give to Jamie. That's pretty amazing. The power of the book is just astronomical. Then we come to the real power of the book, and what I think is going to be just the absolute mind blower somewhere later on in our own book. The book from Frank, or the book that is written by Frank that Bree brings along. This book is going to be huge. Now, to me, this book has, as soon as I read that Bree brought a book that nobody has read yet, that Frank has written, oh boy, I thought, here it is. In this book are all the answers to a lot of my questions. Can someone please just read this book right now and tell me everything I need to know? I have no doubt in my mind that Frank has put some sort of clue in this book, that Frank has written about one of them in this book. There is something about the Fraser family in this book that is important, and they need to read it. And it's going to be much like the Bree and Roger saying, oh, we'll tell you that story later. I bet you I don't know for chapters and chapters and chapters what's in this book. But it's going to be so big and so important. And it really, as soon as I read that, I thought, I need to keep reading. And then I thought, no, just stop and do this video. Do this video because that's the problem with doing it like this. I need to know now. So I need to know badly. Do you think that this book has just brought along the answers to so many questions that I've had in previous videos and previous years about what does Frank know? I really truly believe it's in this book, and it's driving me nuts to think about the fact that yes, it's there and it's in their hands, and just somebody needs to read the book. And if I'm completely wrong and I've worked myself up because of this book, I'll have a good laugh at myself, and you can all have a good laugh at myself. But if I'm correct and this book has everything I want to know in it, thank you so much, Diana, for putting it in so early, so I have that, like, okay, I need to know, is it in this chapter? No, okay. Is it in this chapter? No, okay. Is it never coming? Okay. Now, I know a lot of you out there are way ahead of me, and even though I'm saying I must know, please do not ruin it in the comments for myself or anybody else in our little YouTube community here. Please just stick with talking about up to the chapter that we've released the video for. For example, this will be chapter 9, so please only talk about what happens up to chapter 9 in the comments, and then when we release 10, add that in. I want this to be a safe place for those that don't want it to be spoiled, that are doing it chapter by chapter. I also don't want it spoiled, so please just stick with our chapter by chapter. I know some of you guys have read the entire book, or 100 chapters ahead of me. You guys are amazing. I love that you have sped read it. I think that's so funny, and I'm kind of sad at the same time for you all, because it's like, if you finish the book, your waiting time for the next one has just started again. And I totally get it. I do. I want to know badly, but I also want this to at least last until maybe Christmas? Maybe? That's probably a bit of a stretch, actually. But I want it to be... I want it to jump along nicely at a nice themed pace, so that I am not going, okay, I've done it. Uh-oh. I'm back at square one with the waiting. So yeah, please guys, don't spoil it in the characters. In the chapters. Just stick with the chapter by chapter, please. Okay, I'm going to go and read the next chapter. No doubt Frank's book won't be mentioned for another 6 chapters or something, or maybe even 10 or 20. But now I'm so excited. I've got something that I'm like digging for. So let's just end this video right now. I'm going to go read the next chapter, and we'll come straight back for chapter 10. I hope everyone's enjoying the read along, and if you've finished, I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye.
Sing me a song of a lass that is gone.